Hey everybody, welcome to the final video for the 1983 Detroit Tigers season replay. We will be taking a look here at the playoffs. We're going to play the playoffs all the way through. Then after that, we will do the contracts for the Tigers. We'll go through and sign or release the players who are going to arbitration. And then after that, we'll take a look at the league leaders for both the American League and the National League, and we'll take a quick moment to compare how we did after I used my own mathematical formula to create the stadium effect. So we'll just compare and contrast real quick a few of the teams and the overall average in these categories here, just to see how good, or suppose, I did with my my stadium effects that I created. Okay, so that's kind of what we're going to do. This might be a little bit longer video. Feel free to pause it whenever you need to, take a little break. Heck, this is a good time right now to get up, go to the bathroom, make yourself a sandwich, pop yourself a ice cold one, and then come back and plow on through this video here. Overall, I guess before we do the playoffs, I just want to say that I think this season is a success from the sense that we've lost, two of our main starting pitchers very early on in the year. That was rough. I mean, we still have Bert Blyleven out until spring training of next year, really. And then we had lost Dan Petrie for half of the year as well. And we were just never able to find a pitcher in a trade that could help us out. I mean, we did try to go with Tom Filer. I believe he made 17 starts. We had Joaquin Andahar, who was absolutely terrible for us. We did get lucky with Brian Kelly, who helped us, kind of keep us glued together for a period of time that at least allowed us to be in the playoff hunt down the stretch. But I think that was, if I were to surmise, one of our major issues, yes, it was injuries, which based on what our payroll was, we could just never overcome. We barely finished in the positive for cash. Our team payroll is probably about league average, to be honest, but we lost right around $600,000. And we have a couple albatrosses around our neck. One of them, which is Chet Lemon, who I've already put together the lineup for next year based on who we have available here. I mean, Mickey Hatcher probably will not be on the team. We're definitely not going to sign him. But Chet Lemon, who we traded for to give us some center field solidification, I guess, after we traded Andre Dawson, really only lasted 37 games. He didn't really do that much for us when he was around. He wasn't even that great in center field. But he's also making $690,000, which is a ton of money for a guy that we didn't even really get to take advantage of any of his skill sets. So that was kind of a bummer. I wish that maybe I hadn't made that trade. I probably went with my heart over my head with Chet the Jet. And that kind of came back to bite us. And then we did not have a very solid replacement. We tried Kevin Bass. We tried Eddie Miller. We tried Tony Armas for the second time around. And none of that really worked out. We did trade for Jesse Barfield, who I really didn't have any intention of bringing up. But because he was available to play center field, his defensive rating improved. We gave him a shot, and he was terrible. So, I mean, we just did not have, we had one of our main positions defensively did not come through offensively or defensively for us. So it was a real bummer in that sense. A big positive, although George Brett finished on kind of a down note, he was pretty magnificent for the whole second half of the season once we traded for him at the All-Star break. That was a great job by me. I pat myself on the back getting that trade. It's a no-brainer, really. I mean, we needed a third baseman knowing that Mickey Hatcher could not play defense. He was the worst defensive third baseman in the American League. And he had a lot of value based on his what he produced at the plate, but and is in a lot of ways a really great DH. He could hit lefties and righties and did a lot for us. And he might be our team MVP. I'm going to let you guys vote on that. At the end of the day today, when I'm finally wrapping things up with this channel, I'm going to put the top contenders for Player of the Year on the Facebook page. I know I said I would do it yesterday. I just didn't get around to it. So I did not add the Facebook link. Some of you are already Facebook subscribers, so I appreciate that. But, Parrish let us down. He was supposed to be an everyday player. We made a trade for Terry Kennedy, and that kind of worked out. 28 home runs combined, which would have been great if it was just one of them. Lance Parrish had 27 home runs in 1983 in real life. And I guess I really thought he would, produce, but rated a 77, which is ridiculous. I mean, he's the same rating as Bobby Ramos. Rich Gedman is a higher rated catcher than Lance Parrish. I don't know. It's disappointing. So that was a big negative for us. This year, we really tried to make Eddie Murray our first baseman. I would have considered giving him a long-term contract, but he was low rated for us. We ended up trading him to Toronto, and he got injured for the Blue Jays, and now he'll be a free agent. So the Blue Jays kind of got screwed in that deal. Greg Brock did a good job, but he cannot hit left-handers. And that is alarming because I do not want to bring up Barbaro Garbe and take a bench spot where, all he does is bat versus left-handed pitchers. I mean, your corner fielders should be everyday players, I think. So we will give Greg Brock a chance next year in our 84 season replay out of the gate to play every day, and then we'll see what happens. But he walked a ton. He had the best on-base percentage on the team for everyday players. And then I guess if I were to vote, I would say Lou Whitaker, probably our team MVP, 26 home runs, never hit that many in real life. A good batting average, scored 106 runs. He took over the leadoff spot for us when we traded Ricky Henderson. We had Ricky Henderson in center field. That's not even his normal position. We had so many center fielders, it just couldn't work out. By the way, Henderson only had 2 home runs for Houston and was really a dud over there too. And now he's a free agent. So, I think we did all the right moves getting rid of the players that we did, real big name players, to save payroll, give us a shot at getting some younger players up. But ultimately, we just didn't do enough. I don't know what else we could have done offensively. As you'll see later on, I'll illustrate that, our stadium effects, I think, were pretty in line with what the Tigers did in real life in 1983. But yeah, just not enough. So looking at our pitching staff real quick here before we get to the playoffs. This is what I project will be our starting rotation for next year. We dropped Dave Rozema down to the bottom. Dave Rozema might become one of those pitchers that intentionally, unintentionally, we go ahead and only give him 17 to 25 starts and try to work in other players, put Rosie in the bullpen for a period, because he just does not hold up. And that is really frustrating. I mean, I could get in. I'm not going to spend this video slamming this game. I've already slammed it enough over the year, over the season. I know there's some flaws, but, one of the fun things about playing this game is that the unpredictability of it all. Seeing a Brian Kelly come out of nowhere and get 9 victories. Meanwhile, Dave Rozema can't make it through 25 starts without starting to blow up. And I do find that part of it fun, but I want it to be more realistic. And I don't know how else to do that, even when I use my own mathematical equation to try to level things out a little bit. So I do predict this will be our bullpen next year. This is exactly who we'll be going with. There's always off-season trades that are possible. Tom Filer will probably get our long relief spot. I think he earned it. I mean, he's not good, but he earned it. So we'll see. Weaver and Capizzello are going to be signed in trades. You'll see that here shortly. So, and having Bert Blyleven back, depending on what his rating is. I mean, he got off to a 7-1 start, and then we never, he got injured, and we never saw him again. We do have Bert under contract for 2 more seasons, and so, I'm hoping he can just start to duplicate what he did for the first 10 starts of this year. He broke his back, for crying out loud. Cut the guy some slack. All right. Well, you know what? I think we are ready to move on to the playoffs. What I have done in the past, as you can see here, it's the Yankees versus the Oakland A's and the Metropolitans versus the Dodgers. And what we've done in the past is we play one day at a time and get the result, and then we'll take a look at transactions to see if anyone got injured, and if there were any contracts that were signed. So, again, it's kind of a little bit of a process, but it's fun. It's kind of a slow burn, if you will. So let's go ahead and play advancing to October 2nd, and the A's come out on top. In game 1, this should be a runaway. I can't imagine what'll happen when the A's get to the third and fourth starter. But this is only a 5-game series, and the A's are already up 1-0, winning 6-1. And the Mets shut out the Dodgers. Transactions, nothing to see there. And let's go ahead and play the next day. Here we go. Oh, come on! The A's are up 2-0 on the Yankees. The Yankees are going to have to sweep the rest of the way. They do go home to Yankee Stadium. The A's win 5-1. Okay, let's take a minute here to take a look at the Yankees. Now, yeah, I mean, this game is oh gosh, okay. We're going to be positive here. What they've done is they put in this guy named Ted Wilborn. They've done this a little bit earlier. He is the DH over the everyday third base DH, Brian Dayette, who had 20 home runs, batted .288. And in the playoffs, I'm assuming Ted Wilborn is playing. Actually, he's 1 for 8. Yeah, so he has been playing. You would give a guy who batted .275 with no power over Brian Dayette. Maybe it's a platoon at this point. I don't know. But that is dumb. It's just dumb. And here's their 5-man rotation. We got to look at the Oakland. How are they doing this? This is crazy. I mean, they have a really good lineup. I mean, they might even have the MVP and Tony Brewer. Taking a look at their pitching. I mean, Mike Warren and Larry White. Mike Warren didn't even pitch yet. Larry White pitched 8 1/3 innings and got the victory. And then was it Rick Langford? Rick Langford, who lost 20 games, goes 6 2/3. That is crazy. Well, I mean, it's kind of the fun of it all, I guess. Now they're going to give the next start to Kurt Young, which is kind of makes sense. Why not? You're up 2. Sorry, I've already had enough caffeine today, but I need a little drink of my coffee there. Okay. The Mets are up on the Dodgers. I mean, Mets had the better record, and the Dodgers, both of these teams really jacked up their lineups and their bullpens, but the Dodgers are missing 2 starters, Rick Sutcliffe and I can't remember who the other one is, but it's not worth looking up. But we're got a day off now. We're going to play a day off, and then we'll head to the other stadiums. Okay, so there's a day off. Oh, look at transactions. Anything? Oh, Dave Radjic retired. He hasn't played since 1981, in which he was horrible. Ken Henderson, pretty good power hitter once with the White Sox. He is now officially retired. He played at least in 82. And another retired. Oh, Ed Farmer started the big brawl with Enos Cabell. And he has retired from the Chicago White Sox. Okay, back to the playoffs, y'all. Now, this could be the end of the first round of the ALCS and the NLCS. So the Yankees and the Mets are up 2-0, and the Mets are going home. So that's pretty much sewn up. Here we go. Next day. Oh, Athletics lose. Yankees put 9 on the board. They win 9-6, and the Metropolitans lose 7-3 in 10 innings. The Dodgers score 4 in the top of the 10th, I guess. Okay, well, both teams still have the upper hand here. Okay, let's see. One more. Oh, transactions. Al Hraboski, the Mad Hungarian, retires. He has not pitched since 1981. Playoffs. Here we go. One more day. Game 4. Oh, the series are tied. It's coming down to a Game 5. Yankees win 4-1. And the Dodgers win 7-2. Holy cow. Okay, well, it's very fitting that they both go to Game 5s. Kind of curious who the starting pitchers are. I guess we can go to the calendar. And it's going to be, Kurt Young versus Stefan Weaver. That is a Yankee advantage if I ever saw one. And we'll take a look at the Mets here. And it's going to be Fernando Valenzuela versus the Cy Young Award winner, Rick Ownby, who's 22-9. So that's a good matchup, although Valenzuela did not have a good year. Okay, so let's go. And we're going to play Game 5 right here. Let's see who goes to the World Series. A's versus the Mets. Oh, the Yankees. They go down at home in Game 5. And the A's are the Cinderella team, I guess. The A's won 2-1 on the back of Kurt Young. And the Mets win 3-2, as they probably should have, with the Cy Young Award winner in there. Okay, let's take a look at transactions. The NLCS MVP is Rick Ownby, who went 2-0 with a 1.08 ERA. Opponents batted 130 against him, only gave up 7 hits, no homers, and he pitched a complete game. Maybe that was in Game 5. That's impressive. And then in the ALCS, it was Mickey Tettleton. Terrible all year. And he batted .316 in the ALCS with a home run, a couple RBIs there. Okay. All right. So now we go to the World Series. We got to play a day here, I guess, just to move it along. I guess we have another off day. There. Oh, son of a bitch. It just jumped right into it as the Mets get the win. 1-0 in Game 1. I don't think that was Rick Ownby. But, I mean, the Mets should just crush it here. Let's take a look at transactions as the Mets go up 1-0. We do have a retirement. Fred Kuahalua, San Diego Padre. He has not pitched since I was 6 years old. All right. Go back to the playoffs. Game 2. This is at Shea Stadium. And then they go to the Coliseum and then back to Shea if we need to. So the Mets are up 1. It's best of 7 series. And the Mets win game 2, 5-2. So now looking good for Oakland. Transactions. Buddy Schultz of Cleveland retires. As you can see, he did not play baseball after 1980 anyway. So, Buddy Schultz. Okay. Game 3. So there's a day off, right? We got a day off. Boom. Take a look at transactions. Nothing. Okay, here we go. So now we go to Oaktown for game 3. And Oakland gets on the board. They win 2-1 in 12 innings. They had to fight and claw and scratch to get the victory. Nicely done. Couple more retirements. Don Collins. Don't know who you are, but he did pitch in 1982. Got a couple of starts. He was bad. And Roger Metzger played in 82 for a couple of ball games. All right. Back to the World Series. Mets are up 2-1. Here's game 4 coming your way. And the Mets win. They are 1 game away from being the world champions. They win 7-1. Nobody retired. All these retirements, which is good. I like to have the game get purged like this. Okay, we have game 5. A's need to win to stay alive. They're at home. Let's see who's on the mound. Why not? Why not? We've already spent the time. We can spend a couple more minutes. Let's take a look at the calendar. It is Mike Scott, 14-12 versus Mike Warren, 15-7. So that should be a pretty good matchup, I would think. Let's see how it goes here. Here we go. Game 5, playing one day, and the Mets win the World Series. 7-3 in Game 5. Congratulations to Freddie's Mets. That has to be exciting. What is that, 3 years before they actually won the World Series in 86? So they are ahead of schedule. Let's take a look at, Gary Bear retired, just saying. And here are, Doug Barr retired as well. Bear and Barr retired. And then here is the World Series MVP. It's Ron Darling, 2-0, giving up only 1 run in 15 innings pitched, 15 Ks. That is pretty damn good. He wasn't even in the majors yet, and he's already a World Series MVP. Okay, here's everybody who won a ring. Why not take a look? Alex Trevino, Richie Hebner came in to play for Danny Goodwin, who got injured at the end of the year. Didn't hurt him at all. Wally Backman, Jose Moreno, he might be an MVP of the National League. Ross Jones, who just stole the job from Hubie Brooks, which was stupid, but it happened. Dan Gladden they traded for. Mike Hart they traded for. John Christensen came up at the end and became an everyday starter. There's Hubie. Ron Hodges, Bill Ullman. Mookie got a ring. He was sent to the minor leagues. It was good to see him get called back up. Oh, hey, Danny Goodwin did get a ring despite being injured. Luis Rosado, Brian Giles, and then the pitching staff of Rick Ownby, Ron Darling, Mike Scott, Craig Swan, Walt Terrell, Jesse Orozco, Greg Harris, Randy McGilvery, Juan Berenguer, Neil Allen, Scott Holman. I think Scott Holman came up for like a minute. Yeah. Nice job in there. Sneaking in at the deadline to get a couple games, to get a World Series ring. And the great Jeff Reardon. So, wow. There we go, folks. That is your champion. It is the New York Metropolitans, taking a look, a 90-win team wins the World Series. I believe it's the first World Series. Cincinnati won last year, right? And the year before that was, California won the first year. And then Cincinnati won last year. And then Cincinnati won last year. Houston won in the strike-shortened year. So those are your World Series champions in the 4 years we've played. Okay, so let's take a look at the league leaders real quick, and then we'll do the Tigers contracts, because I think once we do the contracts, it jumbles up. Everybody goes to free agency, and this might be a mess. So we're going to take a quick look at all the main positions here. You see that Jim Rice won the American League batting title over his other two teammates. They had 4 Boston players in the top 10. By the way, Jim Rice led the American League in home runs in real life with 39. And as it turns out, 38 was the lead for home runs in the American League. Ron Kittle, he won it over his teammate Rod Allen. Dave Henderson had 2 home runs in the final game of the season to get up there. Big Daddy Cecil Fielder, he's just a little kid, though. He's only 20 years old. Greg Luzinski had 32, and he hit 32 in real life in 1983. How about that? Tony Brewer, Steve Kemp. Steve Kemp should be your MVP. The Nozzle, Tom Pagnozzi, hit 31 to jump up to 8th place. Lloyd Mosby, he had 22 home runs at the All-Star break, only hit 8 more, finished at 30, and Ricardo Saenz wrapped up at 30. Ken Smith hit 39 home runs total between his 2 teams that he played for, so he technically had the most home runs combined. And then Sweet Lou with 26. Good job by him. Glenn Wilson, a nice, pleasant surprise with 24 home runs. Okay, let's take a look at a few more things here. Out of curiosity, we're going to run through these quickly. At bats, Shooty Babbitt had the most. Mickey Hatcher was 3rd. Feel free, we're going to do all the batters' stats here first. So feel free to pause it if you want to take a longer look. Doubles, Hoskins Powell of Minnesota had 47. Some really odd names in there. George Brett had 30 between the 2 teams. And he had several for Detroit, which was kind of impressive. Grounding into double plays, Pat Dodson, rookie for Boston, had 35. George Brett had 23 total. Extra base hits, Steve Kemp had 72. Nobody else was close. Good job by Steve Kemp. He probably will be your MVP of the American League. Hey, why not just take a minute, look at all the fielding averages? This is going to be funny. At catcher, we had 2. Parrish was better than Kennedy, as he should be. But Ron Hasse was the best fielding catcher. At first base, we didn't have anybody qualify because of Murray and Brock sharing the duties. But Murray went on to have the second best average overall. Second base, Sweet Lou, he did relatively well. 982 fielding percentage, within 4 points of having the best percentage, as Paul Molitor was number 1. Not known for being good defensively, but there you go. At third base, guess who's not going to win? It's not going to be Mickey Hatcher. He had a 921 fielding percentage. George Brett, 954. He could have been the Gold Glove. He still could be the Gold Glove, technically. Although John Castino, who won last year, was the best this year. Shortstop, Trammell. Man, he had so many errors, especially costly ones that we can remember. 970 overall. Roy Smalley led the American League. Left field, Kirk Gibson. Yeah, not good. He had that big one down the stretch there, the final series. But better than you might expect. I mean, he could have been worse. Center field was Mike Felder. He took over for Chet Lemon after the trade and ended up having a pretty good year. And right field, Glenn Wilson, a good percentage, but his defensive WAR was not great. So hopefully he can actually improve a little bit. Okay, games played. Well, there were 4 players who played in every ball game. Willie Mays, Aikens, Shooty Babbitt, Greg Luzinski, and Daryl Sconyers. Bob Pate just missed 1 game. Hits. Who had the most hits? It's Shooty Babbitt. Had 195, so nobody had 200 hits. Mickey Hatcher, 179, finishing 7th. George Brett had 168. Hit batters? No, hit by pitch. Who got hit by pitch? Mickey Hatcher tied for the most, actually, with 6. Brian Harper and Wayne Krinchicki. We already looked at home runs. Home run percentage, probably about the same. Yeah, it's Ron Kittle right up there. Intentional walk. Who got intentionally walked the most? Rod Allen, 5 times. Jim Traber, also 5. On base percentage, Wade Boggs finished over 400. That's kind of amazing in this game. It doesn't really happen very often. I mean, I honestly can't even remember it ever happening once, but Wade Boggs is the guy to do it. Okay, had a little slurp. Outfield assists. Holy shnikey. Dave Henderson had 18. That makes sense. Dan Pasqua has a good arm, right? Yeah, 90 arm. Holy cow. That's one good thing for Cleveland. Jerry Turner, Jim Rice, Tony Brewer, all had over 10. No Tigers. But we have some hope out there. We do have some good arms. On base percentage plus slugging. Yeah, Steve Kemp absolutely crushed it this year, getting traded from St. Louis to the Yankees. And I believe he will be your MVP. We don't really care about range factor, do we? RBI. Steve Kemp, 137 RBI. Tony Brewer, 123. Greg Luzinski, 113. We had 11 players get over 100, and so many were close, including 3 Tigers, coincidentally, all grouped together. Total coincidence, I'm sure. Let's see here. Runners thrown out by catchers. Brian Harper threw out 57 with an average arm. So he played a lot of games, so that probably was part of it. But also people felt like they could run on him a lot. Ron Hassey was number 2. Parrish and Kennedy, as you can see, represented there. Okay, what was the percentages? Harper at 40%, Lance Parrish at 32.6. That seems reasonable. Runs scored, Shooty Babbitt, number 1, Sweet Lou. Number 2 with 106. George Brett had 87. How can there be 11 people with 100 RBI and yet only 7 people with 100 RBI runs scored? That doesn't make sense. I don't understand math. Runs created, we don't care about that. Sacrifice hits. Doug Baker, he should be healthy now. He had 4 days until his injury was over when the playoffs started, so he's back. And he'll be on our bench. Sack flies. John Harris of the Angels had 11. All right. You may be wondering who is the highest paid player, and that is Bob Welch, $2.2 million for the Dodgers, in case you were curious. All right. Slugging percentage, Steve Kemp with a 540. Wow, Glenn Wilson with a 503. That is kind of incredible. Oh, wow. Nicely done by Glenn Wilson. I hope he can do that every year. Let's take a look at stolen bases. Otis Nixon, 84. Gary Pettis would have gave him a run for the money. He missed the last month of the season. Finished at 71. Ricky Henderson had all 44 of those with us before we traded him to Houston. And Gibby finished with 25. Wait, how many times was Lachelle Tarver caught stealing? 18. I think at one point he was like 50% success rate. Then he took off. All right. Well, steal success. Steve Davis, 94.4. He was 17 for 18 on the season. I think it's the mustache. It's the mustache power. Who struck out the most? Carl Pagel, 141 times. And this is like nothing now. If you only struck out 141 times in the majors right now, you'd be like, wow, that guy makes contact. No Tigers. That's because we hit and run so much. All right. Total bases. Steve Kemp, 311. I don't want to overlook strikeout percent. Ray Smith, Ray, the Baltimore catcher, 3.6%. And Hatcher doesn't strike out much because of that 92 contact that we hit and run with him all the time on. Nice. Okay. Triples. Kevin Romberg, 9. And then a bunch with 7, including Gibby and Fish Lips. Walks. Clint Hurdle. That's just dumb. Clint Hurdle had 105 walks. And his OPS was under 700. But they played him over the 300-plus hitting Ivan Calderon. Okay. Let's see here. Walks per 9. Win. Okay. All right, so that'll do it for the American League batters. Let's do the pitchers real quick, just going in pitching category order. Complete games. Tom Klowitter had 9 complete games and 3 shutouts. 2 of them were against Detroit. He was a Tiger killer. ERA. Teddy Higuera. He's got to be the Cy Young Award winner. 2.12 ERA. Jack Morris at 3.86. Dave Rozema barely could hang on. But at one point, he was in the top 5 for like a majority of the season before the wheels came off. Games pitched. That's all Tigers, right? Pretty close. Rucker had 71. Dave Smith had 67. Weaver. Eck was in there. Mark Mercer for Texas. You get the picture. Okay. Appearances. Who induced the most double plays? Brian Allard and Stephon Weaver. No Tigers. That sucks that we couldn't even get one pitcher in there. Not even Jack Morris. Who hit the most batters? Brian Allard. Chuck Rainey. Eric Wilkins. Home runs allowed. You already know it's the guy on Cleveland, right? Larry McCall? Larry McCall, 52. Youch. That is a lot of dong. He went 10-21 after a 10-22 season. And he's going to be a free agent, so jump on that guy, somebody. Maybe the Yankees. Let's see here. Randy Jones had 41. Floyd Bannister gave up 40. Jack Morris, 26. Innings pitched. 4-man rotation for a lot of these guys. Jack Morris just made it in there. As many innings pitched as Larry McCall. But Teddy Higuera had the most. I don't really care about opponents, blah, blah, blah. Quality starts. Teddy Higuera had 28, so did Alan Ramirez and Stephon Weaver. Jack Morris had 22. Nice. Saves. Dennis Eckersley was your saves leader with 41. The Terminator, Tom Hankey had 33. Mark Clear had 28. So did Weaver. Dave Rucker had 12 on the list as well. Okay. Save success. Oh, Joe Baber had 95.7%. And Roger Weaver, believe it or not, with almost a 5 ERA, had the second best save percentage. Shutouts, Alan Ramirez had 5. Jack Morris had 3. I think Teddy Higuera started the year with like 3 in a row, right? Something like that. Starts in pitching, yeah, I mean a couple pitchers made 36 starts. Randy Jones, Paul Moscow. Some made 35. Morris had 34 and Rosie had 33. They both made all their starts. Strikeouts pitched. Mark Langston ran away with it. 258 Ks. Teddy Higuera had 225. Jack Morris in the top 10. You don't see that from a Tiger very often. Okay, we're coming to the end of the American League here. Walks per 9. Dave Rozema, 2.41. That's just unbelievable. Unbelievably bad. I mean, he was in like the top tier, and I think it like doubled. But Oil Can Boyd is number 1, and Teddy Higuera, that's why he's winning so many games. And Larry McCall, he doesn't walk anybody, but he gives up the gopher ball. All right, and wins. Here we go. Teddy Higuera had 22. Alan Ramirez, 21. Same with Roger Schlegel. Mark Langston had 20. John Tudor had 20. And Jack just fell short, as did Scott Sanderson. And you see the rest of the American League there. So, we're just going to look at the National League main categories here real quick. Johnny Ray pushed past Jim Gantner at the end to get the batting championship of the National League. Batted .338. Pretty solid, but only 7 batters batted over 300. Home runs, 29 for Len Matusik and Jose Moreno. So not even one person had 30. Runs batted in, there's only 3. Tracy Woodson, Matusik, and Russ Morman. And stolen bases was Kim Allen with 85. He had 97 last year, 85 this year, and now he goes to arbitration. I wonder what the Reds will pay him. I wonder what he's asking for. And I wonder if they re-sign him. He's only 30. He is 30 years old, and he doesn't hit well. So a 580 on-base percentage is kind of a liability. Let's take a look at the pitching categories real quick, the main ones, like ERA. Oh, this is good. I want to show you this. I did briefly look at this earlier. There's wins. There is strikeouts, and there is saves. Take a look at this, folks. Oh, don't take a look at that. Take a look at that. J.R. Richard wins the pitcher's triple crown. 206 ERA, tied for 22 wins, and 243 strikeouts. So he's probably your Cy Young Award winner, right? I mean, you would think. Kind of amazing that happened in this game. Rick Ownby won 22 games himself. Only 2 20-game winners. Bill Landrum of the Cincinnati Reds saved 32 games. So, okay, that's it for the league leaders. Let's go ahead and do the Tigers free agents, which are basically our arbitration hearings. I already know what I'm going to do. I don't have to think about it at this point. So we're going to go ahead and advance to the free agent period, and then we'll take a look and see who the free agents are and who was re-signed, and then that'll be it for the year. Okay, so here is Mickey Hatcher. Now, I know you're thinking, for what this guy gave us, $370,000 is really great. I mean, he's basically a two-time MVP of our team, maybe our best hitter, practically drove in 200 runs in 2 years of being a starter, but we just cannot afford that. And his rating is already at 76. He's only 28 years old. If we could get him as a free agent at a reasonable price, then I'd be glad to bring him back and have him be a DH. But it's got to be for the right price, and that is not it. That's not a lot, but that's not it. So unlike other arbitration players, we are going to just flat out release him. We're not going to sign and release him because we can't trade him. If we were to sign him for this and then try to trade him, no one's going to want a guy with that low of a rating. So, see ya, Mickey. You've been good. We appreciate your service. We are releasing Mickey Hatcher into the wild. Okay. Oh, man, he's asking for a lot more money than I thought. Now, Dave Smith, we want. We are signing him to keep him. He is going to be our closer. But you know what? We're going to skip him for now. Let's take a look at the other, because we know we want him. Here is Keith Comstock. Now, we do want Comstock back, but we are not going to pay him this. We are going to give him a slight raise. A slight raise. If we lose this arbitration, we're stuck with him at that amount of money, which is not affordable for us on a guy that has been good, but if you want to look at his scouting just real quick, he did have 52 Ks in 54 innings pitched. And a guy with that low of a overall rating, with a sub-4 ERA, that's pretty good. But we need him in the bullpen. We do not have any extra lefties, so we have to have him. Okay, let's go ahead and submit the offer of $60,000 and the slight raise. Here we go. Yes, we get him for 1 year at $60,000. Okay, yeah. Now, Roger Weaver, he has really good ratings. We are not going to pay him that much money. We're gonna lowball him. We'll pay him whatever it is. I mean, we'll accept whatever the arbitration is. But he's a sign and trade. So when we come back in '84 for the '84 season, he will not be on the team, and I'll tell you, you'll be able to see who we got. So we're going to lowball him. We're going to offer him $320,000, which is a lot of money. The guy made $4,300. He could barely afford a suit. He's driving a Datsun in 1983. A Datsun. So let's submit the offer. $480,000. It makes it a little bit harder to trade. Damn it. Okay. Now here's Cappy. We love Cappy. Wow, only $190,000. Wow, I like that a lot. Well, if we can get him under $100,000, then we'll keep him. If we have to pay him more than that, we'll trade him because of his excellent rating. So we're going to lowball him because I am a cheap bastard. And we're going to submit the offer here now. Oh, no. God darn it. That sucks. Okay. Well, we've lost 2 arbitrations. So this is the guy we want. He was at $47,000. We'll offer to pay him $150,000. And let's hope for the best here. Here we go. $150,000. No, come on. That is not fair. Well, we're stuck with that. Okay, well, that'll do it. So now, here is your free agents for next year. Let's get everybody organized. Okay. So Ricky Henderson, who we let go, he is the big money hustler. The Braves are willing to get in on that. Ken Oberkfell, second baseman. Nobody wants to touch him. The Bull, $1 million he's asking for. Gary Templeton, I don't think so. 5 years for Gary Templeton. Terry Poole, really the only good Houston player. Steve Macko's dead. Willie Mays, Akins. Tommy Herb, bump. There's Mickey Hatcher. Definitely asking for more money in free agency. So we'll see if that goes down. We'll go after him. Nobody wants him just yet. Ron Esther, Rick Sweet, John Tamargo, looking at the Twins. I don't know. We'll just scroll down and see if there's anybody exciting to look at here. Davey Bergman. Ed Ott. Oh, there's Andre Dawson way down here. Asking for $265. Dale Murphy. He's just a shell of himself in this game. Ray Knight. Ernie Witt. We can bring him home to Detroit. We have enough catchers. There's Gary Hancock. We could bring Gary Hancock back for the third time. Yeah, I mean, he's rated 69. I mean, there's Frank White, Phil Garner. This is wow, we're already at the bottom of the barrel? There's 124 batters. There's Reggie, rated a 57. Oh, that's good for the Pirates getting them. We dumped Reggie on the Pirates when we got Bert Blyleven, and they're him. And then there's a lot of undrafted players here from the last draft. It looks like all asking for the minimum. And then you get to the bottom with the schlubs. The schlubby schlubs. All right, well, the only offensive player that we're in the market for is a DH. And maybe somebody affordable. And I bet we could find somebody. I would love to have Mike Easler. I mean, that guy was what was he? The Hitman, right? That was his nickname, the Hitman. But it's got to be for the right price. So that gives you an idea. I would love to have Mickey Hatcher back, but it's going to have to be for the right price. Let's take a look at the pitchers here real quick. El Presidente asking for big bucks. Steve Rogers, Captain America. He is asking for $1.65 million. The Braves are already negotiating. John Flem also talking to the Braves, but they're serious about Steve Rogers. El Presidente, Braves. Joaquin Andujar's in contract with the Braves. Pete Vukovich, Braves. Rick Sutcliffe. Oh, the Braves are in on everyone right now. The Count of Montefusco. Kip Young. There's Steve Mira. Braves are looking at him too. Oh, the Braves are they have a lot of money apparently. Scotty McGregor. Al Holland in relief. Close to a 2-year deal with the Twinkies. There's Quisenberry. The Candyman. Joe Sambito. Mike Perrott. Tookie. There is Rick Honeycutt. No, I'm Bob Forsh. I mean, these are not good players. Bob Forsh, Don Sutton, Tom Seaver. That's all getting payroll off of the team's big dollar values. So that's good to get rid of that. Clear some payroll. Senior Smokes right down there. Yeah, I mean, this is all just schlubs. Dick Pole! Still there. All right, so you see there who we have to work with for next year. One last thing for the season. We're going to stroll on up and just take a look here. Oh, shit. Here's the awards. Damn it. Well, all right, fine. So Teddy Higuera does win the Cy Young Award. That's good. He deserves it, even though he was on a terrible, terrible team. Steve Kemp won the MVP. Congrats to Steve Kemp. Good year. Rod Allen, Rookie of the Year, makes total sense. 36 home runs. Here's your Gold Glovers, folks. Stephon Weaver, Ron Hassey, Dave Stapletoe, Juan Bonilla of Cleveland. Detroit, George Brett. Brett, for Kansas City and Detroit. We'll take it. Roy Smalley at short. In the outfield, it's Tony Brewer, Danny Pasqua, and Mike Davis. Oh, wow, not Dave Henderson. It's Mike Davis. Okay. The National League Cy Young, of course, is J.R. Richard. You win the Triple Crown, you get it. Len Matusik of Philadelphia is the MVP. That's got to be a close race. Russ Morman, he will get the Rookie of the Year. He will also have 7 sister wives, probably. Batted .283, 24 home runs for the Montreal Expos. Bob Knepper gets the Gold Glove for pitchers for the Giants. Marv Foley for the Padres at catcher. Len Matusik, he is swiping everything. Tim Flannery for the Padres. Tom O'Malley. Oh, we love Tom O'Malley. He's the guy that's got 99 everywhere you go. So he did win a Gold Glove. Did he have any errors? He made 3 errors at third base. Look at that defensive range and defensive WAR. And he was not a good hitter. He had 20 home runs, but that defense makes him worthwhile. Here we go. Gary Templeton. Wow, got a Gold Glove at short. And then in the outfield, it's all Cincinnati. It's Dwayne Walker, Dwayne Murphy, and Jim Weaver in right field. Here's the Tigers stuff, which you already know. And then we're going to just blast through this real quick. We're just taking a look to see if there's any big money here. Oh, shoot. Do I have to go through and change these? Shit. So every player that got a contract extension, I have to go through and edit them. I'll show you what I have to do. It just takes a second. This sucks. And you have to go down here because it still thinks it's an arbitration. And you have to change it to a major league deal. And now he's got a regular major league contract. That's what I had to do at the beginning of the year. But anyway, so I got to do that for every single player who got a contract. That's a bummer. Okay, we're just scooting through. Lynn Jones resigns with Atlanta. Wow. Atlanta's spending the dough. Wow, they've had a lot of players they resigned. Here's Baltimore. They don't have a lot of money. I mean, they're spending it, but they don't have it. Wow, they're going to resign Ron LaFleur for $90,000 a year. Oh, Alan Ramirez gets an extension for $1.17 million. Now we're at Boston. Oh, they re-signed Jim Palmer. That's because he's doing underwear ads. That's the only reason. He didn't even pitch in '83. That's dumb. Okay, here's Boston. Yeah, they're re-signing players who don't even play. I mean, why would you re-sign Hobson, Wolf, Torres, Skip, Lockwood, Dick Dragon? There's just no reason. California. Any big deals here? None that I can see. All reasonable. Here's the Cubbies. They probably got money to spend. Oh, they re-signed Ed Putman. And they give money to Mark Lemongello. Here's the White Sox. They're re-signing a lot of their main guys. Buddy Bell comes back. Biff is back. Kevin Bell. I mean, these guys are minor leaguers. It's crazy. Okay, here's the Reds. They give a arbitration $1.5 million for 1 year for Bruce Bereni. That is crazy. Oh, and Kim Allen got a 1-year deal for $275,000. Dave Oliver retires from Cleveland. He's had enough. Didn't even play in 83. Victor Cruz is back. Larry McCall comes back for $175,000. The Dibber is back. Bobby Cuellar. There's the Bandalorian, Chris Bando. He's coming back. Houston. Bruce Robbins gets a 2-year deal. Former Tiger. Now we're at Kansas City. A lot of these guys are terrible on Kansas City. Yeah, they only really brought back, Willie Wilson, maybe the best player they have left on that team. He was injured all year. And then the Dodgers only signed 4. Okay. And then, whoa, look at this. Teddy Higuera, a $2.6 million contract extension. That is the highest paid player in baseball. And you know the Brew Crew is going to be losing money this year. Let's see who else they signed. Fred Holdsworth is coming back. Tim Nordbrook. Here's Minnesota. Chuck Rainey's coming back. Hoskin Powell, probably their best hitter. Fish Lips gets a bigger deal. Gary Renicky. Paul Boris. Then we go to Montreal. Charlie Lay, David Palmer. They get good deals despite Steve Rogers leaving. The former Tiger, Andy Raplogle. The Mets. The Mets got money to burn after winning the World Series. They got all that extra money. They're going to sign all of their players, even though they're all going to be in the minor leagues. Phil Mankowski, for crying out loud. Joe Zadib. What's going on here? Here's the Yankees. They got money to burn as well. Kiko Garcia. Hell, they even gave Louis Tiant a minimum year deal. Oaktown, they don't have a lot of money. In fact, Milt Ramirez. Only card that he had was from 1971, and he did pass away this year in real life. So, R.I.P. Milt Ramirez. He is now retired. Mark Badaska. Bye-bye, Badaska. Rick Langford gets an extension, well-deserved. And same with Matty Keogh, Brian Kingman. They're bringing all the subpar pitchers back. Why not? They made it to the playoffs. I mean, they certainly deserve to get paid. Len Matusik, I mean, the guy just won did he just win the MVP? I already forgot. Yeah, he just won the MVP and a Gold Glove. They can't even give him $1 million. They give him, what did they give him? Oh, crap, come on. $560,000. So there you go with the Phils. The Pirates, they give Dan Warthen, he's their ace. They give him $1.45 million. Larry Anderson. Johnny Ray just won the batting title. $650,000. The Padres, did they re-sign our boys? Yes, they did. Guy Solars gets a minimum deal. Not a minimum deal, $162,000. Mark Wagner comes back. Bill Fahey, and then the Giants. Terry Cornut. Milt May, Greg Minton. Here's Seattle. Bob Pate. Yeah, I mean, these are all like smart deals. These guys are good. They're going to be good next year, too. St. Louis, Hector Eduardo. They give a $1.25 million contract for 3 years. Butch Weiniger lands a 5-year deal to be their catcher. There's Jim Gantner, second in the National League of batting average. Okay, here's Texas. This team sucks so bad. Bryn Smith gets a deal. Former Tiger. Toronto, Omar Marino is re-signed. Dave Tobick comes back. Garth Orge. Timmy Corcoran. Timmy. Roy Howell. Pat Rocket. And Eddie Murray is re-signed for 5 years for Toronto. Will he even be in the lineup? Who knows? That's funny. Then we have arbitrations. We don't really particularly care. We're just going to scoot. Scoot, scoot, scoot. Scooty scoots. Wow. Okay, we've already done this. Did it just like reset itself? There's a retirements. Weird. It's all weird. Oh, Bob Babcock's done. Aurelio Rodriguez. Trivia question. Aurelio Rodriguez was the first third baseman to win the Gold Glove after Brooks Robinson won 14 in a row. Then it was Aurelio Rodriguez. Okay. Well, folks, I think we've covered it all. So, when we come back for the 1984 season, it'll be April 2023. That's the year the Tigers won the World Series. That's the whole impetus for me doing this series here, is to try to get to the Tigers to the World Series by 1984, and it hasn't happened yet. We will have all new 1984 cards. We will have some that are homemade. That should be kind of fun, I hope. We'll have all the players on the, re-signed and traded. And hopefully we'll have an interesting roster. We're going to try to cut some payroll. And we'll come back and have some more fun in 2023. So that's going to do it. We will have contests coming up very quickly here within the next week. There will be a contest where we will celebrate the 1983 season where you can possibly win some really big rookie cards. Rookie cards that year were Wade Boggs, Tony Gwynn, and Ryan Sandberg. So that'll be fun. Maybe some of those cards are up to like $3,500. So keep an eye out for that. I'll announce that shortly for a Time Travel Tuesday video. You can watch any other videos in the playlists that are on our homepage. Thanks again, everyone, for tuning in this year. And we'll be back in 2023. Until then, everyone, have a great day.